Hello and welcome. Thanks for tuning in. It's so nice to have you with us. A few days ago, Dodo Juice presented their revamp, or as they call it, their refresh of their existing brand and product. We are one of the first channels that have a few of the products here, especially all their new waxes, which probably will be the most interesting products for the most guys of you out there. And therefore, in this video, I will explain to you the redesign and the refresh. We will compare it to the old Dodo Juice waxes. And I especially want to give you a few tips regarding the decision which wax could probably be the best for you. As I said, Dodo Juice presented a refresh of their whole line, their brand and their products a few days ago. And in this video, I want to especially focus on the waxes. I already showed you that I have some of their liquids already here in my unboxing video, especially the Dark Matter Trim and Tire Dressing and the Delicious, which is a quick detailer for matte painted cars. But this video will be mainly about the waxes. Now, what you have to know about Dodo Juice is that they are one of the oldest, most established brands out there, especially if we talk about waxes. Because up until the point in time when Dodo Juice introduced their Rainforest Rub wax to the market, there pretty much only were Swiss Wax, Simul, and maybe also Maguire's, which offered high quality, mainly natural carnauba waxes, but for a comparably high price, if we exclude Maguire's for a moment. And Dodo Juice said you can achieve and you can bring such a wax to the market for the enthusiast for a much lower price point. And that's why Dodo Juice was pretty much single-handedly responsible for the huge variety of waxes that we have in today's market, because they kept innovating, they kept producing more and more waxes, more and more specialized waxes, and that's what this video will be all about. You see here the new line of waxes, all of them, or almost all of them. Then we have here the old ones, and also the Supernatural line, and that's what we will talk about now. I have rearranged the waxes slightly in order to tell you which ones are new and how they compare to the older versions of it. What we have here are the so-called Core 8 waxes. These are the waxes that started the Dodo Juice journey. These are probably also the waxes that Dodo Juice is best known for. We start with the two waxes which are explicitly for all types of colors. So it doesn't matter if you have a black car, a white car, a silver car, a red car. These are universally usable. And there we have the Rainforest Rub, which was the first wax introduced by Dodo Juice, and also the Hard Candy. We will talk about the difference of those two respective waxes in a minute. Then we have waxes which are explicitly for light colored cars, so white, silver, or light grays, for example. This is Diamond White and Light Fantastic. But because they don't have additional dyes in there, these are also excellent choices for all types of colors. Then on the contrary, we have two waxes which are explicitly for dark colored cars, so blacks, dark blues, or dark greens, for example. There we have the Blue Velvet and the Purple Haze. And then finally, we have two waxes which are for warm colored cars, for example, red, yellow, or orange. And this is the Banana Armor and the Orange Crush. And of all of those waxes, there was an old version, there is a new, a redesigned version. And those are, as Dodo Juice calls it themselves, substantially naturally waxes, which means there is a high content or a comparably high content of carnauba in there. They are simple, they are very easy to use. They are most importantly enjoyable to use. They don't cost the world, but they are not necessarily tailored towards hydrophobics, durability, or resistancy. If you want that, then Dodo Juice has their hybrid waxes. And there in the refreshed line, they have three of them. They have Black Widow, which is a hybrid wax for dark colored cars. Then they have Scarlet Fever, which is a hybrid wax for warm colored cars. And then they have Shinecraft, which is for light colored cars, or once again, for all types of colors, because in Shinecraft there is not so much additional dye in there. When it comes to those hybrid waxes, it is a tiny bit more complicated when we want to compare it to the older ones, because yes, we had Black Widow in the old lineup. However, there were some changes in the ingredients and in the mix-up of this wax. Then Dodo Juice also had something which is called the Basics of Bling Protection Wax. And Dodo Juice always said that this probably will come out best on warm color cars. So this could be the indirect predecessor to the Scarlet Fever. Dodo Juice before also had something which was called the Blue Velvet and the Purple Haze Pro. And Pro referred to the ingredients, and those were the hybrid hybrid waxes. However, they are now replaced completely by the Black Widow. So if you want a hybrid wax for dark colored cars, you now go for Black Widow because there is not a revamped version of the Purple Haze and the Blue Velvet Pro. And these are all the waxes which Dodo Juice had and has now replaced with the new versions. Then Dodo Juice also had waxes under the so-called independent wax label. And this, once again, is one of the reasons why there are so many different waxes and manufacturers of waxes on today's market, because the history behind this is that Dodo Juice gave independent wax makers, and those really were just one persons at that time, the chance that they sent their wax creations to Dodo Juice, and if Dodo Juice found that these waxes worked well and offered something special, then they brought out those waxes on the market under the independent wax label. And you can already see that there are some major big brands under there, which are, for example, Bouncers, ODK, and ODK stands for Obidan Kanubi, Fourth Wax, which is not in existence anymore, but also HB Sauce or Rubbish Boy, for example. These waxes were not taken over into the new design language. I honestly don't know if Dodo Juice will bring them out at a later point in time, but I fear that these will be discontinued. So all you wax collectors out there, I think it's now time that you grab some of those, because there probably won't be new ones done anymore. And then we also have to talk about the Supernatural line by Dodo Juice. Supernatural always meant that there are no additional dyes or scents in there. These really are extremely high quality Canuba waxes, or waxes with a lot of natural ingredients in there. The Supernatural line will also exist in the future. However, it will exist as an independent sub-brand by Dodo Juice, which became very visible when those products were not on the new homepage by Dodo Juice anymore, but they got a separate website on which the Supernatural line will be sold in the future. So we will now talk about the different sizes that are available, and this is probably the most critical aspect of the revised or revamped or refreshed Dodo Juice lineup. With the bigger wax pots, you did get 250 milliliters of wax before. You now only get 150 milliliters. And this is a critical aspect because the new ones cost exactly the same as the old ones. What I want to do right now is give you the argumentation of the manufacturer of Dodo Juice themselves, of Dom, who I contacted and who I asked a few critical questions about it. I will then give you my personal opinion, but in the end you will have to decide, you will be the judges if you want to go for the new smaller sizes, if you think it's cool and it's fair that Dodo Juice did what they did with the sizes and the prices. The manufacturer, so Dodo Juice, what they told me is that when they introduced these waxes, they chose the 250 mils because Swiss Wax and Zymel also had these sizes. So you did get a comparably large amount of wax back then. However, what we shall not forget is that Dodo Juice did not increase the prices of this wax for the last 15 years. And as you can imagine, the prices of the raw ingredients did not go down in price during these last 15 years. So Dodo Juice always offered a high quality car wax in a very large size for a comparably low amount of money. Plus, what Dodo Juice also says is that the new packaging and the new pots look much nicer and are of much higher quality. And this one I can definitely relate to, because those new wooden pots or wood look-alike pots with the thick milky plastic back there, they look like a quality product and also feel like it. And that's when we have to talk about my personal view of things. I think that if I consider the explanation that Dodo Juice gave me with the rise in raw ingredients that they and all the other manufacturers face, and when I look at the new wax pots, I think it's fair game. I think that you get a nicer looking, a nicer feeling product. You also get a nicer packaging with those little boxes that the waxes come in. So I can live with the decreased size of the waxes, but as I said, you have to decide and you have to be the judge if you accept this. So all the new waxes by Dodo Juice come in 150 milliliters, and this also accounts for the hybrid ones because, and this is also an important aspect if we talk about prices, and this is, for example, the Black Widow wax, where you only got 100 milliliters before, now you get 150, and this also accounts for the Scarlet Fever. You get 150 mils before with the protection wax. You got 100 mils. So yes, the prices for the Core 8 rose a little bit, but the prices for the hybrid ones stayed the same. And I think this is also an important aspect to consider if you think about the fairness of the new pricing. So once again, all the new waxes in the large pots come with 150 mils, and you can get all the waxes also in 30 milliliter pots. This is the same as before. The prices for the Core 8 rose a little bit. The prices for the hybrid ones stayed the same. However, you didn't get Black Widow before in a small pot. You could only buy it in 100 milliliters. So you now have the option to go with a smaller sample size pot. And this also accounts for the Scarlet Fever. You only could get this in 100 mils, and now you can get it in 30 milliliters as well. And once again, you cannot get the Blue Velvet Pro and the Purple Haze Pro anymore. You can only get the Black Widow now. As I said before, for all the waxes of the Core 8, there are always two different versions. And this has always been the case with Dodo Juice. They sell you a soft and they sell you a hard wax of their respective color charged range. And most of the times you already find a small hint to which wax it is in the name of it. Banana Armor standing for something strong, is the hard wax for the warm colored waxes. Then you have Diamond White, again diamond, a hard material for the light colored cars. You have Hard Candy, there it is very blunt and obvious for all colors, and then you have Blue Velvet as the hard wax for dark color. And then if we go to the soft waxes, you have Orange Crush for the warm color cars, you have Light Fantastic for light colors, you have Rainforest Rub for all colors, and then you have the Purple Haze for the dark color cars. When it comes to the differences of those waxes, there is the stuff that Dodo Juice tells you, and then there's stuff that I tell you. Dodo Juice says that with the soft waxes, they are normally a bit easier to apply, and they tend to be able to create the desired wet look that so many of us go for, because the soft waxes are a tad more buttery, a tad oilier, whereas the hard waxes are maybe not as easy to apply, but simpler to remove because you tend to use less wax. And in my personal opinion, I am not someone who believes in all those claims about finishing capabilities, but that accounts for all the products and all the brands out there, because it is extremely hard to prove those finishing capabilities and the claims behind it when you do a 50-50 shot. However, there is a significant difference in how those waxes feel and how they are applied. The soft waxes are, as the name suggests, softer, oilier, more buttery. Therefore, it is easier to pick them up on an applicator, and they are definitely easier to spread around the paint and the panels. However, with the soft waxes, you tend to use more, which means that you have to do a little bit more buffing when you remove them. With the hard waxes, it's not as easy and not as simple to actually pick them up on the applicator. They need a bit more rubbing inside the pot to get there. They are not as easy to spread on the panels then. However, the removal is a lot quicker and a lot simpler because there is less wax on there. And that's the main difference within the Core 8 line of waxes. With the hybrid ones, you only get one version of it, so it's a little bit simpler to decide which one to go for. Let's quickly talk about the boxes that those waxes come in, because that's a significant difference to the old ones. As you can see, the wax pots themselves are very simplistic, which adds to their beauty. You have some basic instructions on the underside of them. However, you find them mainly inside those new boxes in various different languages. As you can see, I don't want to open this box because I'm a wax collector. I want to keep that as it is. But on the old ones, you see everything was written on the pot itself, which meant there was a lot written on it. So the new ones are much simpler, much more beautiful, and that's because they come in boxes. And this also accounts for the small ones, the panel pots. They also have everything written inside, just in a smaller font size. The new line of hybrid waxes by Dodo Juice, by the way, come in this chrome lid, and the Core 8s come with this wooden or wood look-alike hot lid, and that's a quick way to identify them. Most of the smaller pots come with a black lid. However, the waxes for light colored cars in general, so the Light Fantastic, Diamond White and the Shinecraft, come with this white lid when we talk about these small panel pots. There's one additional important aspect that I want to talk about in regards to Dodo's Core 8 waxes. Just because these were on the market for quite a long time, it doesn't mean that Dodo Juice in the background is constantly working on the formulations that are in there and is tweaking the mixtures that these waxes are based on. But once again, Dodo is not a company that works with buzzwords or that wants to create a hype by calling it the Blue Velvet version 2, the Blue Velvet version 3.0. There's ceramic, there's graphene in it. They just offer you fantastic waxes with an incredible value for money all the time. But as I said, that does not mean that Dodo does not further develop those products. We of course also need to talk about scents, because for normal people they are somewhat important. For me they are extremely important. We start with the Rainforest Rub. Yes. Watermelon, fresh watermelon. Very sweet, very exotic. Hard candy, as the name suggests, candy. Yeah, I think much stronger than the old one. Very pleasant. The color is also extremely striking. And we have Orange Crush. Yes, very zesty, like fresh oranges. Yeah, beautiful scent. Banana Armour, definitely stronger than the old one. Incredibly good. Amongst the best banana scented waxes I ever smelled. Yeah, very, very nice. The two for light color cars, they are traditionally, but that also accounted for the old ones, a bit lighter in scent. The Light Fantastic is a very earthy, light almond scent, or almonds. I'm not an English native speaker, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. And then Diamond White. I like this one better. This is, I think, vanilla and coconut, or coconut. Very, very nice. Amongst the best, amongst my favorites of all of them. Blue Velvet. Yeah, that's blueberry. Very close to the old one, I have to say. Purple Haze. That's, yeah, I think that's lavender and or grape, but I think this is a tiny little bit sweeter than the old one, which suits it, I think. Then the new one, Scarlet Fever, typical cherry, and I think especially a dark cherry scent. Yeah, incredibly good. The Black Widow, that one did the biggest jump from the old one, because the old one had a very light solventy smell, and I always tell people that certain types of waxes, mostly mountain waxes, smell of rotten dinosaurs, which is actually what mountain wax is made of. Yes, the solventy smell is gone, and you are left with something very earthy, very heavy, and I would also say very nutty. Yes, very, very nice. And then my actual favorite of the bunch, and I now know what it smells of exactly, because in the unboxing video I said maybe gingerbread, maybe peanut. It is coffee. This is incredible. Yes, a very light milk coffee, extremely nice. But all the waxes, or none of the waxes, has a solventy smell, which is especially nice for all of you guys who know Soft 99 waxes, for example. Very pleasant, extremely nice smelling. So a big or 2 thumbs up to the Dodo Juice team for the scents. Yes, now I have to smell Shinecraft once again, because this is... So now a few recommendations from me in regards to the question for which wax you should go for. If you have several cars that you want to wax, then I would personally definitely go for Rainforest Rub, Hard Candy, but you could also go for the Diamond White or Light Fantastic if you want to go down the hybrid wax route, then it is definitely Shinecraft that you should look at. If you have a white, a silver or a light gray car, then I would definitely go for Light Fantastic or Diamond White, because they don't have additional dye in there, which could create a darkening effect, which you don't want on especially a white car. You want clarity and shine there. And that's why I would go for these two waxes, especially on white cars. If you have a red, an orange or a yellow car, then definitely Banana Armour and Orange Crush are the ones for you. If you want a more modern hybrid wax, then go for Scarlet Fever. Orange Crush is especially a recommendation from me for all the modern variants of brown or bronze cars. I especially think about the Sepang Bronze by BMW, for example. And then if you have dark colored cars like dark blues or blacks, you should definitely look at Blue Velvet, Purple Haze or Black Widow. Especially for the ones of you who have black cars, and especially if you have a solid black paint, then you should definitely go for Black Widow, because in my experience, this one has the strongest darkening effect of all the waxes. In my personal opinion, with all the Dodo Juice waxes, it does not really matter if you are a beginner, an advanced weekend legend or a professional, because they all are easy to apply, and this especially also accounts for the hybrid waxes, which typically is not a normal thing with hybrid waxes. They can be a pain in the ass to apply and remove, but not with the ones by Dodo Juice. So if you want to have very simple, largely natural, very easy to apply waxes for a great price point, I would say go for one of the Core 8. But if you require your wax to be as durable and as resistant as possible, I would definitely go for the more modern hybrid waxes that Dodo Juice offers. Regarding the hydrophobics, I can happily tell you that all of them work great, and I especially think that the new Core 8 ones work a tiny bit better than the old ones, because the beading, and it is a really strong pronounced beading, is there immediately. They don't need a day or two to cure or harden. The beading is immediately there, and the beading that the hybrid waxes creates is off the charts. It is amongst the best I have ever seen. So if that aspect is very important for you, then you should maybe think about getting one of those hybrid waxes. But that are just some tips in order to help you decide which one to go for. If you are a wax collector, none of this matters, because you will get every single one of them. Before we come to the conclusion of this video, one last piece of information. I did not have to pay for the waxes. Dodo Juice sent me these for this video. So if you don't believe anything that I just said because I was sponsored by Dodo Juice, then that's perfectly fine. That's your decision. There's just one thing I want to add. If you go and have, for example, a look at my postings in the Detailing Central or the Detail Freaks Facebook groups, or watch older videos by me in which I give you wax recommendations, you will realize that I was recommending the waxes by Dodo Juice for a long time before this video, in which I said that Dodo Juice offers high quality, easy to use, good smelling, and just overall fantastic waxes, especially for beginners. Up until this point, this video was more like a product presentation and an introduction into Dodo Juice's wax range than a review or a test. And this is exactly what we will talk about now, namely my experiences with these waxes in the last couple of days and weeks. And it's actually something funny that happened. Normally, when I test waxes, the procedure is always the same. I grab a wax, I tell you something about the price, the presentation, then I show you how easy or hard it is to apply. Then we as YouTube testers always and mainly focus on the hydrophobics, so we show you how well it beads and cheats. We then normally go ahead and show you the chemical resistance, so we hit the test panel or the car that we applied such a wax with chemicals, with shampoos, with foams, with APCs and so on. And maybe we then also apply it to a car and observe the durability of a wax in the real world. And the thing that happens with, I would say, 50 to 75% of every single wax I test is that I do a test with this wax and then it disappears in the wine cooler in which I store all my waxes. And I never use it again because it is is not fun to use. However, with every single one of the Dodo Juice waxes, it was pretty much the complete opposite. Every single time I visited this place here, I looked forward to applying and to working and testing these waxes because they are such a joy to use. Based on the incredible scents that these waxes have, based on the very nice presentation of the new jars, and mainly based on the incredibly easy application that each and every one of those waxes offer. And in my personal opinion, it does not really matter if you go for the new hybrid waxes, for a soft or for a hard wax. There are not huge differences in the way that they feel. Every single one of them is incredibly easy and joyful to apply. And in this respect, we also have to talk about the availability of different versions of those waxes for different colors. Is it really necessary that you go with a specific wax which is tailored towards the color that your car has? No, I personally think that you can use every single one of those waxes on every single color that is out there. The only exception to this rule would be the Black Widow. I personally would not use that on a white or very bright car because I would fear that the darkening effect would be too strong and that you would rob a white car of its shine when you use the Black Widow. With every single other one of these waxes, I strongly believe that you can use it on any color that your car might have. However, and that's the important part, and that's part of the special recipe that Dodo Juice offers, the fact that there are different waxes which are tailored towards the colors that your car has gives you the opportunity to buy something special, to buy something tailor-made for you. Because normally if you want a custom wax that is tailor-made for you, you pay a shitload amount of money. And what Dodo Juice offers you here is the feeling that you get something handmade, something tailor-made, something special and something unique that is just made for you and your specific car for the price of a regular wax. And so I personally don't think that it is a bad thing that Dodo Juice offers you this variety of waxes. It's actually something rather special, especially if you are a beginner, because for not so much money you get a really special and tailor-made wax. The two things that stood out for me during my testing with these waxes is one, that each and every one of them is incredibly easy to use, because I am absolutely sure that there will be waxes out there which offer a better beading, a better resistancy and a better durability. However, such characteristics often come with the downsides that those waxes are hard to apply, that they tend to leave streaks or oily holograms behind, which you then have to chase or accept them until the next wash. And no matter what you do with these waxes, meaning you can leave them on your car for a few minutes or for several hours, it doesn't matter how thick or how thin you apply them, it doesn't matter how warm or cold it is outside, it doesn't matter what the humidity level is, each and every one of those waxes is easy to apply no matter what. And funnily enough, that is a characteristic that you normally only get with very expensive waxes. And the second thing that I realized is that each and every one of those waxes, but especially the new hybrid ones, offer incredible hydrophobic effect. And that is what I found to be the main difference to the old waxes. It's not that I'm saying that the old waxes were not capable of achieving this. However, because of the fact that those waxes existed for 15 years unchanged in their visual appearance and presentation, you were never quite sure how old the wax is that you got when you bought it. Especially when you bought it during a sale that a shop offered, you were never really sure how old those waxes were. And some of them really felt old because they felt rather dry inside those pots. And this aspect especially accounted for the panel pot waxes, because I always had the feeling that they had the tendency to dry out quicker. And so at the end of the day, and after all the testing I did with those waxes, the main thing that I am sure of, that there will be testers and there will be YouTubers out there who will tell you that those are bad waxes, because they will do durability tests, they will do chemical resistance tests, and in these tests, these waxes will not stack up well. However, I personally think that those people will not have understood the waxes that Dodo Juice offers you. because often these same people then go ahead and show you a wax by Swiss Wax, by Zymel, or by other expensive manufacturers and tell you that they are special because they are incredibly easy to use, that you cannot make mistakes when you apply them, that they smell nice, that they have high quality ingredients, and that it doesn't matter how much durability they offer or how resistant they are to chemicals. And I personally think that this is exactly the angle you have to look at the waxes by Dodo Juice, and that's actually my personal conclusion of all the testing I did. I think that what Dodo Juice offers you is the emotional experience of a high quality, very, very expensive luxury wax, but for the price of a regular wax. The new or the refreshed Core 8 waxes by Dodo Juice cost £32 for the 150 milliliter pots. They cost £8 for the small 30 milliliter panel pots, and the hybrid waxes cost £45 for the bigger pots and £10 for the smaller 30 milliliter pots. Now, in order to better explain to you what makes the Dodo Juice waxes, in my personal opinion, rather special, we have to look at the wax market as a whole. On the one hand, we have something that I personally call tin waxes. They always come with a certain mass production appeal, which does not necessarily have to be a bad thing, but they don't feel special when you use them and when you have them, even if some of those waxes work excellent. I, for example, think that the new one by ADBL or the R222 P21S for you American guys out there, the Pinnacle waxes, even the Chemical Guys Pete 53, I personally think is a fantastic wax. The Poor Boys wax works fine, the McGuire's waxes work, Riyadh's, for example, offers fantastic wax. They all work fine, they all work good, but when you use them, you hold them in your hands, they don't feel like something special. They don't feel like something tailor-made for you. And a lot of those waxes just plain stink of solvents and chemicals. And especially when we talk about waxes like the Bilthamber Double Speed Wax, the Colinite 476S or the Soft 99 Kiwami, they are fantastic waxes. They are incredibly durable. They are very resistant to chemicals and other influences. They are extremely hydrophobic, but they can be a pain in the ass to use. They can leave behind oily residue. They can leave behind streaks when you don't apply them perfectly. And even if you do, you still can end up with problems. And that's something that the Dodo Juice waxes definitely will never do. They work flawlessly. They work easy. No matter how you apply them, no matter how long you leave them to cure, they are just simple, the end. Then we have waxes which I would consider a bit of higher quality, like for example by Bouncers, by Angel Wax, or the UHD wax by Autoglim. However, they tend to cost a bit more. And I would also not say that the waxes by Bouncers or Angel Wax are easy to use, because they usually work with shorter curing times. Then we have something by Auto Finesse or Auto Bright. Yes, they come in those nice bags. Yes, the tints that they come are a little bit more special than the standard ones, but they are still tin waxes. They still smell of solvents, so once again, they don't feel as special, as handmade, as unique as the Dodo Juice waxes do. Then we have a whole array of ceramic waxes, and I don't want to go through them. Yes, some of them work fine, some of them even work excellent, but that's something that is rather unique and special about Dodo Juice, and that I personally adore about them. They never jumped on any bandwagon. They never worked with buzzwords, because they, for example, never claimed ridiculous carnauba contents. They never jumped on the ceramic bandwagon, and they resisted to include something like graphene in their waxes. They just offer you simple and plain waxes that just work. They don't need to work with buzzwords. They don't need to do it in order to sell their products, because their products themselves convince. And once again, that's something that makes them unique and special. We don't have to talk about something from Swiss Wax or Zymel, because they are just ridiculously expensive, even if some of them are rather good. And even if I personally like, love and adore waxes by HB Sauce, ODK, and even some by Wax Addict, they usually cost a lot more than what Dodo Juice charges you for their waxes. So at the end of the day, there are just a handful of waxes which offer you something similar that Dodo Juice offers you, but then again, not exactly the same. For example, Immaculate Reflection offers you, in my opinion, the best smelling waxes there are on the market. However, performance-wise, they are not quite on the same level as Dodo Juice and some of the others here. Then we have Detail Bug, which probably bang for the buck wise is the best you can get. However, you can see and feel where Andy from Detail Bug saved some money compared to what Dodo Juice offers you. And this at the end of the day means that there are only a few chosen waxes I would say offer you a similar value for money and a similar experience than what Dodo Juice offers you. And that, for example, is the Infinity Wax Super Gloss Plus, but only this wax by Infinity Wax, because other ones tend to be a little less forgiving when you work with them and also more expensive, except for the new graphene wax, which looks like a banger. Then also some waxes by Vovos, I think especially of the Mellow Wax and the Contact 1-to-1. The Wax Planet Simplicity, but a lot of other waxes by Wax Planet 2 offer exceptional value for money and also performance. Simple Wax is also in these realms. Neo Wax with the number 1, but also the number 2. And I think the ones that come closest to what you get by Dodo Juice are the waxes by Waxed Junkies, which is produced by ODK, and the Sienna Gloss Fantastics, but no wonder this one is also made by Dodo Juice, so there's why these feel rather similar. And that at the end of the day is what Dodo Juice makes unique. They offer you simple, extremely easy to use, high quality, well-performing waxes for a fair amount of money. Plus, if you consider that some of those waxes that I just named are only available in one country, maybe in a few others, but they don't come with material safety data sheets. They don't come with instructions in your local language, but the waxes by Dodo Juice do. And so at the end of the day, I stand by what I said. Dodo Juice offers you something really and truly unique that no other wax manufacturer really comes close to. So you now know everything there is to know about the refreshed line of Dodo Juice waxes. You know their prices, you know the available sizes, you know the intended use for every single one of them. But the most important aspect that I want to stress out is that I personally think that if you're looking for the first wax that you will ever use, or if you are a seasoned weekend legend and you have lost the joy of detailing a little bit, then these waxes are perfect for you. Because no, they won't be the waxes that last the longest. There are definitely waxes out there which create a more pronounced beading. Those new waxes by Dodo Juice probably won't win comparison tests based on chemical resistance. And there are definitely also cheaper waxes out there. However, because they look so nice, because they smell so incredibly good, and because they are so easy to use, these waxes are just a joy to use. They pronounce the fun in detailing, and this is something that Dodo Juice always did. They did it again with their refreshed line, and this is probably something that they will always do and bring to the market. I personally love those waxes, and I can wholeheartedly recommend to you that you get yourself one of those, because as I said, when it comes to the joy of detailing, and detailing should be fun and it should be joy and it should be something that is close to your heart, I think that those waxes are pretty much unbeatable. If you like this video, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. Dennis, come sit down and have a sniff of those waxes. Maybe start with this one. Then go with the pink one next to it.
This one?
Yeah.
Holy